In the last 2 years, I've met people and I've encountered people and I've been in relationships with people, like platonic and romantic, and all of that shit in between. And all I gotta say is that people will have you fucked up. Like, I can't. So this is kind of a unique video, a unique situation where I recorded a lot of it prior to a discussion that I had. Essentially, I was recording the other day and there was something wrong with my mic. I was just talking and talking and talking and talking, and it wasn't really recording sound. So I had to re-record a few days later. Given that, it kind of puts us in a unique situation because time goes on, time moves forward. So everything in this video it still relates and it's still important, you'll see, but like there's like new information. So instead of making a whole new video because like I got shit to do, I can tell you what happened. You can see my thought process beforehand, and then you can see why I'm just like, bruh. So I think the last time that I talked about this or talked about anything regarding my dating life was actually probably my last video, now that I think about it. Essentially the person I was seeing, or like I don't know what the hell we were doing now because apparently we weren't doing what I thought we were doing, but the person that I had considered to be talking to, they had told me, you know, before, they basically said I'm not ready for a relationship, and I was like, okay, cool, because at the same time they had said I'm not ready for a relationship, but you know, I could be willing to work on one like down the road. So thinking about that, I was like, okay, cool. I think maybe this was even in my video last time that I made, or the last video I made. Definitely might have been. If it wasn't, it definitely should have been. But I remember when they brought up the whole relationship aspect, I was just like, oh, okay. It was kind of weird because it was random and look, we hadn't talked about it. So like, of course, that conversation would have had to come up eventually. But in the way that they brought it up, we were talking about something completely different, and then randomly throughout the day, it just kind of came up. It was literally out of the blue. So in my mind, I was, why would they bring this up? Why would they feel the need to bring this up, especially if it's not, like, hey, I'm ready for a relationship? It's quite the opposite. I don't know, it was just like during the day, text message, very abrupt. I felt like it was abrupt, and maybe that's just my issues, but I don't know. Essentially though, I thought like, okay, I would have only quantified the relationship that way. Like I would have only brought that up and made a point that like, bitch, I'm still single and I'm not ready for a relationship. Like I would have only said that if I was about to do some fuck shit. I'm the last person who's gonna be talking about taking things slow. Last person who's ever been like, this is moving too fast, blah, 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 blah. But I felt that in this, whatever it was. So that was weird for me. Never brought it up to them though, so I was kind of cool with them saying like they're not ready for a relationship. I kind of freaked out inside. I was like, relationship? Who's talking about relationship? No one said nothing about no relationship. And that kind of alerted me to the fact that like, okay, maybe I'm not ready for a relationship either. Why did that freak me out? Why do I feel like some type of way about that? Why is this like a thing? And even in the beginning when we first started talking and just at various times in the relationship, I felt as though things had been moving, not in the relationship because there is no relationship. We have a relationship, but you get it. I felt like things were moving kind of fast, and I kind of was having like little mini freakouts. I never brought this up to them, but I would tell my friends, and I'm like, I don't know, this is weird because like I'm the first person that's gonna move fast. Like I'm just taking it day by day, whatever comes my way. Living in the moment, not thinking about what things could be, not thinking about like what they're gonna be, not thinking about like just not thinking about that. Like we're together now, this is cool, this is fun. I don't necessarily want to see anybody else, but you know, I'm not with you exclusively. I don't know, it was just like it was moving towards a relationship, it felt like. So understanding all that, great. A few weeks have passed, maybe a week or two later, that's when things started to go like south. And that's when I told you like, I would only have said that in the beginning if I was gonna start doing some fuck shit. So this is when the fuck shit started. They just kind of dropped communication. And by dropped communication, I mean, I said it started to feel like it was becoming a relationship, right? So we were sleeping over each other's places pretty consistently, going out with each other pretty consistently. They had met some of my friends, I had met one of their friends. But long story short, it felt like we had gotten in this groove. I never got a straightforward answer, and I never understood like, okay, if we are moving too fast, what do we need to do differently? Because only thing they said was, I'm just not ready for a relationship, blah, 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 but their actions didn't match up with that necessarily. They seemed at least perfectly okay with us sleeping over each other's houses. They seemed okay with hanging out as frequently as we did, or as frequently as we wanted to. The way we were texting, the language, we used when we talked to each other, like the things we did for each other, like all of that seemed like they were okay with it. And then all of it stopped. So it was like, okay, is this what you meant by like, there was no conversation as to like what that means for like what we're supposed to be doing. So that's where I was left confused. But then they kind of just busted this left and like things completely changed. So that was about 2.5 weeks ago. Damn, it's been like a month since I've made a video. Sorry, y'all. Essentially, I haven't seen them since that time. Like I haven't seen them, I haven't really talked to them. It got to the point where I was like, okay, don't freak out because this could still be your attachment issues. Like they're busy. They're going through life. We all have these periods. It was more so the quality of communication that we were having. And that's when I get to the point where I'm like, bitch, like you can feel in your gut. Always trust your gut. You know when something doesn't feel right, when you know when something isn't right. You know when something's changed. You know when the energy is off. So I was really struggling between, okay, attachment trauma bullshit or like, am I seeing something here? Talked to my friends about it and they thought it was weird, but I was just like, no, because this is like, they have their own issues as well, so maybe they're working through things, and of course, I was fucking right. Actually, I don't even know if I was right now. I'm still confused, y'all. So what happened was, let me tell you. We had that initial conversation, right? Then we had another conversation because I was just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Are we like still good? Or is this still something that you want to do? I'm so confused. As in, I know you don't want a relationship right now, but do you like me still? Are you seeing somebody else? Because that's what my initial thought went to. This person must be seeing somebody else because the energy changed. The conversations got less and less to the point where like it was days without speaking to each other sometimes, and they wouldn't answer phone calls, they wouldn't answer text messages, none of that. So I was just like, damn, they're seeing somebody else. So when I had this conversation with them though, I was trying to figure out all these questions I had. And I still don't know because they didn't give me a straight answer. Honestly, I feel it's borderline. It's not gaslighting, but I feel like it's approaching that territory. Because essentially when I brought this conversation up to them, they were like, yeah, we're okay. And I'm like, bitch, what do you mean, yeah, we're okay? Things are clearly different. And you're acting like this is just, like we shouldn't have had this conversation. Given that they brought up originally the whole quantifying the relationship and they brought that up, not me, I would think that if the energy shifted like this, they would have brought it up again, or that they would have. It was not the conversation I was thinking about having. What were the things that led me to have this conversation? There were very distinct things. Number one, I did something a little shifty, and like since I wasn't receiving the attention that I wanted or the attention that I had been getting from them since we had first started talking, I was like, all right then, two can play at that game. So I think it was quite literally, I think it was like less than a day. Like it was less than a day that I had not talked to them. It was like 12 hours. And they messaged me, hey, are you like okay? Did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me? Like what's going on? Like we haven't really talked in a while. So I was just like, okay, so you do the same things and you don't think it's bad, but as soon as I do them, like you do notice that there's a change in the energy. So you do notice things. You do pick up on stuff. You are quick. Great. They were like, oh, I thought you had blocked me. It's happened to me before. They've like, again, that's part of their trauma or whatever. It's happened to me before. It sucks, but like I would have been okay. And at first I was just like, oh, okay, no, I didn't block you, blah, 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 blah. But then I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute, you thought I blocked you and you would have been okay. Bitch, the fuck you mean you would have been okay? Who says that? And I knew what they meant. Obviously their world wouldn't fall apart and I'm not like the center of their world and like, it doesn't all revolve around me and that like without me, their life would just be terrible. I mean, it would be, but that's not the point. But I'm pretty sure y'all understand what I'm saying. Like I get that part, but like I would have had a problem with it if you ghosted me. If I was in their shoes, I would have conveyed that to me. Like, I like you a lot, this is how it would have felt. To make that person feel special, not just like, oh, bet you would have been whatever, I don't care. And then ever since then, it was just like dead zones in terms of communication. No communications, I didn't see them, I don't think, for like weeks on end. I was also really busy, but like, the energy changed. During our conversation about, are you still into this? It got to the point where, and this is like within the last week, y'all, I had asked them, okay, do you want to go to dinner sometime this week? Something not at each other's houses, not something as intimate, but like maybe we can do dinner. And they're like, oh no, I like working to the closing shift, blah, 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 blah. Maybe the following week will be better. That would be this week. But essentially they were saying they were too busy to like do it. So my immediate reaction was like, okay, we've definitely hung out before hella late when you get off of work, the days that you close, but like I didn't say anything about that because that's taking it slow, like I have no right to that. They don't have to make time for me if they're tired. Great. But at the same time, I have their location, or I had their location because I deleted it because I was going crazy. But it's like I would see their location and I'm like, bitch, you closed. What do you mean you closed? You're most definitely not at work. You most definitely left work and it's most definitely not closing time. So that's when my thoughts about like they're seeing somebody else, or my thoughts about like just I got paranoid, and that's when the paranoia set in. It was like, okay, you don't have time to go to dinner, but you have time to obviously be out other places. I believe they had friends come in town, and they were out like at these bars hella late at night until 2 a.m., which is fine, I guess, because it's their friends. Like, obviously, go have a blast, but it's just like, why not say those things, you know? That's what's kind of getting me, because up until this point, they had been very open and honest about everything, and I'm not saying they lied necessarily. It's just, it basically made me feel like I'm not a priority, which again is fine, because, you know, we're not dating, but like I was a priority. So I just want to know, like, what the fuck shifted then versus now? Like, why are you pulling back? When I approach these conversations with them, and I say like, okay, so what's going on? Like, what's changed? Like, how are you feeling? They act as though like they're not acting different, and I'm just like, am I fucking dumb here, or am I like losing my mind? Am I the one that's going crazy? Because I feel like I'm going crazy, and I'm feeling I have a lot of anxiety, because I don't want to cut this person off prematurely. I want to listen to what they're saying. I want to believe what they're saying, but their actions are just doing the complete opposite. And I've been down this route before. So it's like, I don't know what it is, but this person won't admit that. I'm not saying that they're hiding anything. I'm not saying that they're lying. But it's like, do they not see how they're acting different? Do they not see how things have changed to the point where it's not just I don't want a relationship right now. It's like, I don't even want one in the future. Like, we're not working towards one together. Like, if I can't see you, if I'm not talking to you, then like that's just something that's just casual, which is also like okay it's not okay with me. I don't think I could do that. I think I would go crazy, especially at this stage in terms of what we've been doing and what we've gone through, whatever. I'm just like hella confused as to what is going on, because in December, I had told them about, like, remember my little friends with benefits situation, y'all? I even told them about that. I was like, yeah, I have this friend who I'm friends with benefits with, or at least I was, and just so that you know, like, I was being transparent, I was being open, I was not wanting to hide things from them. I was just letting them know that that was a thing that happened, and they were like not concerned about it at all, but they were like wondering and wanting to quantify. They're like, well, okay, is that friends with benefits situation over? Because I've been in situations before where like people have cheated on me and all this other stuff. So I was like, yes, it's over. Like, you don't have to worry about it. I'm not seeing anybody else. The only person I want to see is you. I'm not asking you to be exclusive with me, but I'm just saying that like when I'm seeing somebody who I'm really interested in, it's hard for me to see other people. So you're like my number one person. You're the person I'm seeing. They basically reciprocated the same feeling, which was great. It's like you're not dating officially, you're not exclusive, but you're getting to know each other, and you just want to see each other. How the hell do you go from asking me about like somebody else and quantifying that in like those types of questions to quite literally not seeing me for weeks and not talking to me for weeks? But then at the same time, you act like it's like I'm confused. I'm driving myself crazy. In the second conversation that we had about this, the one we had most recently, they didn't bring up anything about moving towards a relationship in the future. Like, that was dropped from the conversation. And then they also said, they were like, I'm not seeing anybody else, but that's not... This was pretty fucked up. And after that, that's actually what cut the conversation short, because I was like, I don't have any more questions for you. They were like, I'm not seeing anybody else, not because of you. You're not the reason I'm not seeing anybody else. I just don't have time to see anybody else. And I was like, wait, hold up, bitch. What? And I didn't say this. I wanted to be like, well, I'm not seeing anybody else because of you. I definitely want to see somebody else. We haven't had sex, and that's been a problem for me, which I have not voiced to you. It's been these little comments. I wouldn't have cared if you ghosted me and blocked me. I'm not seeing anybody else because I don't have time. It's not because of you, it's just I don't have time. It's like these little things that they've said in this most recent conversation where I'm just like, okay, then what the fuck are we doing? Like, do you like me? And I did ask them. I asked them, like, do you still like me? And they said, yeah. But then after that, they went right back into talking about how they are not ready for a relationship. And it's like, I understand you're not ready for a relationship, but do you like me? Like, what the hell are we doing? Because as of right now, all I'm hearing is that this is super casual, or you want it to be super casual, and I'm just like here. Because if I left, you wouldn't give a fuck. I feel like I'm getting played, y'all. And as I say this out loud, I feel like everyone who's watching this is just like, bitch, you getting played. Like, you need to go. It's time for you to drop this bitch and like move on. I kind of feel like that too, but I don't have an answer. And it's like, do you need an answer when the actions are there? Like, behaviors are very clear because like, bitch, I've done these behaviors before. And I can take a hint or two. Like, if this person can't say I don't like you anymore, or I've started to talk to somebody else, I can take a hint. and I'm taking the hint pretty well. But at the same time, I don't know, and I don't want to ruin something that could be, because I really, if I'm admitting it, I really do like this person. I don't love them or anything. I didn't get to that point. So that was a very interesting feeling in the sense that, like, oh shit, we've done caught feeling. So we talked yesterday and dodged a fucking bullet because, like, this person, it was a weird ass conversation in the sense that, like, I don't know if it's gaslighting or not. They either there was miscommunication or I don't know what the fuck it is, but they made it seem as though, like, we had this conversation already and that I was insane for being confused and, like, asking. They didn't say I was insane. They didn't say that I was insane for asking questions. They didn't say that I was confused. It was more their tone and their demeanor. They were just very much so, like, almost, why the fuck are you asking this? Like, what don't you get? Like, are you stupid? Your boy's not stupid. We had not had this conversation. And upon talking to them, they were like, oh, well, the communication between us, or like, us not talking, has only happened, like, hasn't really been that long. And I'm like, no, it's been a decent amount of time. It hasn't been like months on end, but bitch, like, I've seen you once in the last 3 weeks. And that one time I did see you, I came over and you had said that you missed me and you wanted me to sleep over, and like some other stuff happened, and it was just very strange because it felt like we were kind of back in that cuddly, lovey-dovey stage. But at the same time, during our conversation last night, they had said, we had this conversation that I just wanted to be friends. And it's like, bitch, how do we just, like, that makes no sense. In what world would you think that we had this conversation? Number one, because we just didn't. But if I was literally at your place a week ago or a week and a half ago, and you were like talking about like spending the night, or you wish I could spend the night, and I said I couldn't, and we were like cuddled up watching TV, how in the world would we have had that conversation then if I was doing that? That makes just no sense to me. And the whole thing in general, this person never said the words, just want to be friends, in terms of us like not really cuddling or doing those things, you know, romantic things, I should say, those things. Like, we shouldn't really be doing romantic things anymore. That was never said verbatim, and maybe that was my fault for not understanding what I don't want a serious relationship means. But the reason why I never understood that was because they said they didn't want a serious relationship back in the beginning of January, and the way we acted just never changed, which was fine and all, but I'm meeting your energy. So that's why I asked when your energy changed, what's going on, because your words have never really changed except for last night. Your actions have changed. There were multiple things that kind of turned me off in the sense, and then it kind of made me, it resituated my mindset in the sense that, I don't know, it showed me a different side of this person. Number one, it's the way they say things. They, last night, were like, oh, yeah, I just kind of want to be friends, and I think that's what's best for me, and I was kind of waiting for you, like, I don't know what the hell they're waiting for me to do, because I had no idea until then, like, waiting for you to say if, like, you can be friends, and if you can pull back, and if that can work for you. Basically, like, you know, if I can do this or not, or should we just stop talking, is what I got from that little piece of information. But when saying that, they also then added on, but I also don't really need it from you. You can tell me whenever, like, I'm not waiting around for it, I'm not, like, losing sleep over it, I don't give a fuck, basically, is what they said. They conveyed that either way, they're good. Which is, like, fine. Obviously, like, they should be good in their life, not the center of their life. But somebody who I spent a good amount of time with since October-ish, the end of October, and by a good amount of time, I mean dates, like going out, like sleeping over, like texting pretty regularly every day, or talking every day, or somebody who I was essentially getting to know, essentially getting to date. All of a sudden, you do whatever the fuck you want to do, like, I'm good. If I was to explain this in simple terms, they basically were like, I don't give a fuck about you. Which is only funny because the way they said it. And it's like, even if you felt that, it was like, did this person really just say that to me? So it was kind of comical in the sense that I was at a loss of words. Like, I was like dumbfounded. I was like, did this bitch really just say that? What do you mean, like, you don't give a fuck about what I would say? You don't care at all about what I would say, or you don't care at all about, like, if I want to be friends, or if I can't do this, or like how I would be feeling? Like, what the fuck fuck do you mean you don't care? Because in my mind, I care about you. I do like you. I don't love you. I'm not like gonna be like, obviously I'm not like torn up about it. I do care about you a lot, more than I do most people. That came out weirdly, but I do care about this person. So for them to just kind of say that, I was just like, oh, bitch, okay, so, like, when did this come up, or when did these feelings, it was just it was a huge turn. And again, all of this seemed very abrupt to me because I had no idea that, like, this is how they felt. But what if I was really torn up about this? Like, what if, because this is all brand new information to me, like, what if we had gotten to the point where, like, it could have been strong feelings. I think that what we've been doing, how we've been dating, how we've been talking, this person said we were moving to a place where we were at a crossroads where it's like, do we get into a serious relationship, or do we, like, pull back and pause? So at that crossroads, at that point, you would think, or you could imagine that, this other person might have strong feelings for me. So for them to say, I don't really give a fuck about what you decide, I don't really need to know even, but you just decide and let me know whenever, like, I'm good either way. I was kind of just like, okay, what if I like was torn up about this? What if I like cared so deeply? That shit could have hurt me really badly. I see how you feel. Good. It was basically just like, I see that you clearly do not give a fuck, and you obviously don't give a fuck about like the way I'm feeling, because as you said, literally almost verbatim, I'm good either way. Cool, I got you there. And like, I've definitely said that to people like when I was younger, I guess, or when I didn't give a fuck about people, or if they did some shitty shit to me. But it was like, who speaks to people like that? So I had so many questions about like, okay, what caused this shift? Because again, it seems overnight. What led you to feel this way? Does this mean you don't like me at all? Did you stop liking me? Did you ever like? Because, you know, prior to 3 weeks ago, like, it felt, you know, the feelings there were mutual, and we were like, you know, relying on each other. So for this to happen, it was just like, oh, so now you don't give a fuck about me. Or like, I could leave tomorrow, your life would just like have no dent in it at all. Like, I'm just like some one night stand. So even though I had all these questions, the only thing I really could say was like crystal clear, understood, you have issues. Get the fuck away from me. And like, yes, there was some sadness, but honestly, it was more of, and it's such a weird feeling. I'm waiting for like the sadness to set in, because like, I know I have issues too with attachment. And I know that this is also like a big-ish thing. Like, I did like this person a lot. So I'm waiting for all that to set in, but like right now I'm just like, bitch, we dodged a bullet. Obviously this person has a different side to them that we did not see, and it was like, I was speechless. I was kind of, it was comical almost, so I was laughing. And the worst part was that, like, not only just their tone and what they were saying, it was like they thought that we had had this conversation, and they thought that we had been speaking, I guess. No, bitch. There's a reason why I have 706 unread messages, because, well, I guess the unread part isn't really why, but I have a shit ton of messages. My messages go back to 2015, because I don't delete shit, because people be lying. So I don't delete anything on my phone, or I try not to. So I can go back through the messages, bitch, and like see that like we have not been talking. I can go back through the calls and see that we have not been like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not crazy. And I think in the past 2 years, I've had this thing where people, like, it was my ex, one of my best friends now, we're working through things because we're trying to be healthy. And then this person who has told me something that has made me think I'm crazy, or had made me question, like, okay, my reality of things. Oh, did you tell me this? Like, am I just stupid, or am I incorrect, or am I remembering what happened incorrectly? No, bitch, you're not. You know exactly what the fuck's going on. You're sane. It's that person who's warping their reality. It's that person who has their own, like, they're living in their own shit. Like, you're not insane. You know exactly what the fuck's going on. And I'm not sure if these people, specifically the person that I have been talking to, I'm not sure if they knew this and they just acted like they didn't, or if they really thought that they had said something, if they really thought we had had this discussion. The actions just don't make sense. If we had had this discussion while I was at your place like a week ago doing things, my friend noticed a story they had posted. It was about, like, on their Instagram story. They noticed that it was about Valentine's Day, and it was kind of like one of those funny, like, fuck Valentine's Day things. And I was like, oh, I don't see it. And I'm like, oh, I must be hidden from their story. Like, why would you feel the need to hide me, like, on your, like, why would you feel the need to do that? Like, why would, there are things that are just not adding up, bitch. So I know I'm not crazy. It was like, why, when I said, like, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we should go to dinner, and you said, like, oh, I'm busy, but then you were hanging out with friends, and then it was just like, there were certain things that, like, clearly I'm not registering it, so like, wouldn't you feel the need to then say it again? Or even the biggest thing, you know, the first time that they had said, I don't like think I'm ready for a serious relationship, right after that they said, but I think I would be ready for one in the future, or I think I'm open to one in the future. I think I'm open to developing one. They said that. I got the text messages, bitch. So it's like, I'm not crazy. I was following your lead, and your lead, like, went that way. And I'm tired of people making it seem like I'm fucking insane, because I'm not. Like, I know exactly, like, if anything, I've had so much trauma, and I have so much shit to deal with. I am so in tune with my feelings that, unfortunately, I remember everything. Not everything, but like, for the most part, when it comes to feelings, I remember that shit. I'm in tune with the energy of other people. Like, I clock everything like that. So like, bitch, don't try it. What? Obviously, I have a lot of emotions about this, a lot of confusion, a lot of questions. I think at the end of the day, I kind of cut it short in terms of like asking these questions and coming up with, what do you call it? Closure, or, you know, needing closure, because I'm going through so much right now. Like, I'm okay, y'all, but I'm going through a lot of recovery processes, a lot of recovery from my last relationship being traumatic, and the gaslighting that happened with there, and the actual I'm not calling this recent person toxic, I'm not calling this recent person detrimental to me, and I still do care about them, and I still hope that we can be friends. But what I am saying is that, like, I'm going through a lot. Recovery, like, work, I'm just, like, it's a shit ton of things going on. I don't have time for bullshit. I don't have time to, like, I don't have time. So my first reaction was, you don't care? Then, like, crystal clear, understood, like, boom. That's all I need to know. And like I said, that might mean that, like, I'm not ready for a relationship because, like, I don't have the time. And for the most part, I think their communication was great. I think that they let me know what was up, and that was great. But yeah, it sucks. It does suck, and I'm questioning why I don't feel as torn up about it as I thought I would be. Obviously, I'm a little sad, and like I said, I'm rambling now. So you know what? Like, that's all I have to say in terms of preface. Fuck, real on point, real coincidental, like really just like, because Valentine's Day is like a week away? God, I hate this. Why does your 20s have to be so ghetto?